late June is actually one of the best times to focus on filling the garden for free. You know how we love that word around here. Today we're going to focus on some cuttings. We're going to start collecting some seeds, and we're going to talk about some of the seedlings that have self-sown around the garden that are really easy to weed out this time of year, but that if you focus on them, you'll have a lot more plants for next year, and most of them will be ready to plant out already in autumn.
That's right, and the first one right here in the corner is this Salvia Ostfriesland, and it's a really pretty one with these gorgeous flowers, and who doesn't want to have more of that? So actually kind of look around where I could take a cutting, because it's all actually in great growth. But actually I'm just going to be very wild and just take one here. And notice there's a flower here. So what I don't want the plant to focus on producing energy on the flowers here. So those I'll have to snip off. And then I'll remove some of the lower leaves here. Even do here so it really focuses on producing new roots. So this one is a great cutting that I then put in. All the pots here is compost, and then I just watered it well, and then I make it here, place it on the edge, because then it gets great circulation, and then later on I don't disturb it too much when I have to take them out when it's rooted. And it will take around 6 to 8 weeks. So I'll do a few more here. You could even go in and see if they have some smaller ones. If you don't want to take a flower, you could even just take a side shoot here, like a smaller one, and it has like a tiny little, see a little flower bud there, but I'll take that away. The last.
And the idea is to clip, maybe you can't see now, but right underneath that set of leaves.
That's true.
Because that's where the roots are actually going to grow from.
Yeah.
And yeah, in 6 to 8 weeks here, at the end of June, beginning of July even, this is great because they'll be ready to plant out right when it's time to start moving some perennials anyway.
That's true. Actually, I'm going to do one more here. Maybe you can see. Maybe I'll cut it a bit further down, then you can see, then I'll remove. So I'll cut right here.
2 seconds.
And then you want to remove the lower leaves here, because then on the edge here, on the sides, that's where all the roots are going to come. And then again, take the top off. There we go. And even some of the foliage here. And place them again. And on this one, it's around 90 centimeters, this pot. So I could easily have between 4 and 6 in this pot, because the chances of, if you just put one, the chances of some of them won't produce roots is there. It's not 100% chance that they will all, also depending on how hot it is and how much you water. So, but this one definitely can have a few more. So that's that variety. Actually, right behind me, I have another one. And this is Schneehügel. This is a white variety, and this one was actually last year I made a few cuttings and just plotted in here. The mother plant is further up, so I also can repeat the plants. So again here I'll find one maybe that's not too, like this really, this one has a very strong stem, so the chance of that rooting, because it's more hollow in here, is less than the one on the side here. So what I do, I'll just take it here now, because then it's easier to show. So I'll cut here under a set of leaves, and then I'll remove those. And again, this one is in flower, and that won't do. So this is actually a perfect little Salvia cutting, ready to go in the soil. And again, around the edge here, boom, and then I can make a few more, and then they will create roots. And really, I don't want to disturb it and take it out once a week, because really wait and see. And the signs of that it's doing well, that it's making those roots, is that you can see new growth, or you can see white roots coming under here. And of course, this is drainage holes, very important. I forgot to say that, because if you use a pot without holes, it will just rot away. The water has no chance to get out. So that's a perfect little spot here for a little cutting. So here we have the Nepeta, and compared to the more bluish purple variety, this one is just a little bit brighter, like a light, I would say light pink here, and definitely like the other varieties too, they are just really loved by the insects, all the pollinators. There's a lot of buzzing here. What I did with this one, I actually already did some early on in the season, because cuttings you can do throughout in the whole growing season, actually, from early spring and then even after flowering. But when they kind of start to wither back for winter, that's not the best time to do it. So here, when they're in great growth, they will create roots very quickly, actually. And even these ones, because some of the Nepeta, they can tend to. So I did a little Chelsea chop here where I cut the stem here, and then it actually started to do some side shoots. So I get a little bit more compact Nepeta instead of some of them. The varieties have a tendency to flop over and fall, which is not very pretty. So, but it's also a great way to do cuttings when you then take some of them off, because Nepeta is one of the perennials that really easily you can have success with doing cuttings. So actually I'll just do one that's a little bit lower over here. And I'll just cut one. So the main stem here, and then I'll just take one of these side shoots here. Cut right under a leaf node here. That one is going to be really well. So remove the lower leaves, and then the top there's a hint of bloom coming, so cut that off. Then actually just place it there. Let me do one more.
You do that. And then we're going to keep all of these. You can go ahead, Lloyd, sorry.
Yeah.
I know we're not good at multitasking. Someone talks, the rest stop. But we're going to keep them all in our unheated greenhouse, which I'll show you right over there, where our quails live.
Well,
but if you don't have a greenhouse, and we get asked this question a lot, you can also keep them in a shady spot. You just basically want them out of direct sunlight. You'll also notice that we're not using any rooting hormone. A lot of people ask that. And you know what? A lot of people do. We follow a lot of really great gardeners on YouTube, and they do. And if you want to, do it. Cinnamon, aloe, whatever. Knock yourself out. We don't, just because we don't. That's really the only reason why. But if you want to, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, keep the seedlings out of direct sunlight. You can also put a bag over them, like a sandwich bag, or even some sort of a clear trash bag even, because that'll create a high humidity environment, and that's really what you want, because they don't have roots yet, so it's difficult for them to take in the water. So they have to take it through a little bit of leaves that they have, so the high humidity environment will help.
Yeah. And also just talking about, Alan mentioned the different ways you could, if you don't have compost, you could even do it in water. And that's a great way you can, a good thing about doing it in water is you can quickly see if it has rooted, and you can plant it directly out. You just need to change that water once a week. I normally do it so it doesn't kind of rot, so it gets fresh water. And one cutting you can do that is with water or soil is this sedum here. And that's a really nice one. So what we do, we did a Chelsea chop, and it's actually coming.
What we chopped it because we needed to take cuttings. So we've taken 1,000 cuttings of this plant, and you can see that it already has new side shoots, because we're giving these away to neighbors on the street.
On the front, yeah, because where it's full sun, those are going to be doing really well. So that's also, again, like the Nepeta, this is one of the, I would say, the easiest perennials to propagate by cutting. So right under a set of leaves here, I do one more here, right under here. And then what I do, I just remove the lowest two leaves and actually the top. I'll do the same with this one here. Remove the lower leaves and the top. There we go. Actually, one more leaf off.
By the way, can I just say that today is going to be the hottest day ever in the country of Denmark. I am dripping with sweat. This is a country made for winter.
34 degrees, right?
Yeah, which is bananas for here. It's not usually, so goodness. I hated to bring it up because hopefully you'll be watching this video even for years to come. But jeepers, it's hot right now.
But so we are out early so we can do these cuttings and hide from the hot sun. But so that was another one. So Nepeta done and sedum done. So here we actually have a summer flower, but that's actually like almost working as a perennial here. That is Verbena. But because the climate is so mild, it tends to come back every year. But it's also great at self-sowing. But I love to do cuttings because they quickly go in bloom. Within a week, actually, I've tested it in the greenhouse, then it creates roots. So I have a long stem here, but then the side shoots are a little bit better. So either with shears or just use your hands, you can do that as well. And this one doesn't have any flower, a little bit actually. So I'll just remove that because I wanted to create roots instead of a flower. So this one is a perfect little Verbena cutting. Again, I place it on the edge, give it a little push, so it gets that connection with the soil there.
And these will be great over in the neighbor's garden.
Actually, I'll do one more. Actually, I'll take one up and then you guys can see.
We have them growing in here next to our dahlias. That's why they're in the net. Typically, you wouldn't have to net them. They're quite sturdy on their own.
They are very sturdy. And if they get too tall, actually I just cut it and do a chop, and then it will branch out more side shoots.
But the netting, the netting's for the dahlias.
Yeah, that's true. So here I'll again remove the lower leaves. Any flower, I'll just go ahead and take that off. And it doesn't need a lot of foliage here.
Nice.
So that one, boom.
And then what else can we do over here in the shade? I'm seeing
That's why you're over here.
the hydrangea. Who doesn't want more of these?
And they are actually also very easy to propagate. It's starting to get in bloom, but as I mentioned before, you can also do these throughout the whole growing season. But I'm actually kind of looking down. I don't want to remove any that has a flower, but I have some here. I'll cut a little bit lower, maybe you can see. So there's like the wooden branch here. That is not a good cutting. You want to have something that's very tender, like the green growth. So what I do, actually I think I'm just gonna, you can either cut it or just pull it off, almost so it gets the heel here. But this one is a good cutting. So kind of the green foliage here, or the green stem with the good foliage here, and I'll remove some of the foliage here. And it doesn't have a flower actually. So I'll just move the leaves off. So it's a good idea if you cut here right on the leaf node and then remove that. That actually has a little heel, and that's also good if it's just being pulled off, because that gives it a good way to grow actually also in the pot here. So this one, again, everything depending on what, as I mentioned, this Verbena is super fast at creating roots. This one might be more like 8 weeks depending on where it's sitting. This hydrangea here, but I'll do in this small pot I could easily do 3 more, because I really want to have extra in case they don't come. They can be a little bit slow, the hydrangea, but these ones are really good. I'll do one more. I think I found one more very green somewhere down here.
Yeah, because let me show that wood one more time. So you can see in there the wood. I mean, it looks like wood. It's the color of wood compared to the, I didn't want to sound like a smarty pants, but that's what that wood means compared to this, which is green and tender and really flexible.
And I do have to keep these, and I won't plant them out before I for sure have them that they're rooted, because you could stick them in the ground here basically, but I know I would kind of maybe forget to water if it gets really dry. So having them in pots is also a good way to give them a good head start, and you walk past it, so there's no way you can forget. I will more likely to forget it if it's just out in the garden. But these ones, I'll keep water and keep an eye on it, and I'm super excited to see when they have new growth in the top and in the bottom.
Here's an absolute favorite of, well, the bees.
And us though.
And we like it.
Because it flowers for such a long time and it's stunning now, is of course the lavender. It's starting to be in full bloom, but actually some down here, just like the hydrangea, it has its woody parts, and then it has its new green growth, which is the best one to do cuttings of when it's in growth. So what I do, this one I actually don't use my shears, I actually just make it so it gets a heel. That's really good. I have one here, I can show you a different way. So there's a little heel here, then I chop the top off here, like this, and the lower one. So you could either do this where it has a heel, I'll just pop that in there.
And that heel is just the part that was connected to the bigger stem.
Yeah. You could also, if you want only the green growth, you could also just go ahead and cut it a little bit further up on the leaf node here. So it only has the...
Oh, hold on.
Whoops, I'll turn
Okay,
it
there
around.
we go, yeah.
And then I'll just remove the top here, and here it has more sets, so I'm actually going to be tough and pull all these off here. So really,
and we need a lot of lavender. This is a Thumbelina, so it's low and it's compact. You can see that it's difficult to sort of, you know, some lavender, they get so tall and you can see under them, and I don't know, they're not so cute.
No.
But we want a bunch of these in front of the house.
That is going to be just like a whole hedge of
And
lavender.
they're expensive, and we're not about to buy new ones when we can do this. You got to be patient when you do this.
Yeah.
Which is...
Because this one can also be like the hydrangea, a little bit slow to do. Okay, so this one, Right on the other side, we also have a great one, the bjergknopurt we have here. And here I won't take the ones that's in full bloom here. Actually go in and pull off one of the side shoots here, if I can. Otherwise I use the scissors, maybe a bit easier. So here there's also a leaf on, I'll move that off. And there's no flower on the top. But this one will also do really well here and actually also quickly produce roots. And this one is really great for the insects as well. Flowers for a very long time.
And it's about to finish. I've been deadheading
Yeah.
it, and this is sort of the final go of it. Bless it.
But we can make some more babies.
Well, no, I mean it's been
Awesome.
flowering for months.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
okay
true.
to go because we've got other things coming in.
And here there's a little flower coming, so that I'll snip off.
Not
because
anymore.
Not anymore. There we go. And on the side here, ta-da! A bunch of new ones.
It's also time to start collecting seeds. Now, a lot of the flowers, for example, the foxglove, you can see they're not ready at all. They're green, they're not ripe. But a lot of the flowers that came earlier in the spring are ready. And Lars is ready with his coffee filters. This is his favorite part of the year. This is what he and I discuss most of the time when I'm deadheading, and he says, "Are you sure you really want to do that? Because it'll go to seed and then he can stick it in his coffee filters and have it for next year."
Because I have to be very careful and look always when you go out, and because you love to deadhead, which is good because then we got more blooms, but we don't get any more seed heads because that's where all the babies are. And I think that's really amazing how this is Tjernele, had neon color. It was native to Denmark. It flowered for a very long time, but look at even the seed pods. They are so pretty. Once they, Alan just mentioned some of them when they're, you kind of have to see when it's throughout the whole season. So I always have those seed glasses on when they are ready, because when the seed heads are kind of, I'll show you on a poppy later, but it has to be very brown. And then they kind of open up and kind of, they also, a lot of perennials, they self-sow. But this one, now it's open and very brown, dead looking. So what I do, I'll put it in my hand maybe first, then you guys can see. But then look at this. This is like, I would say 800 just new plants, just of one seed pod here, or like this whole section here. So what I do, I just sprinkle them in, write a name on it, of course, because trust me, I try to say, this is Tjernele, and put it in my cool shed, and then it's gone. So name on, and then I'll store it, and I do it in dry weather, so all the seeds are not wet. And then I just pack it away, either until later in autumn or in early spring next year when I get the itch and I want to sow something, because it's great. Then you get a bunch of, this is all free plants, hundreds of them. So it's a great way to get a lot of new ones. So just like that, a bunch of new I can then just have around in pots, or just place other places, or put them in a pot first. So here we have another great one, native to Denmark, Dagprakstjerne, and it's finished flowering, and then it has these kind of opens, gets all brown. Some of them are already totally empty. These almost looks like a mini cup. But then over here I found one that is definitely there yet. So it opens and then it kind of just self-sows, and look at these. Seeds are also very different inside. These are kind of a little bit easier to see, and here, just from one little seed pod here, you get actually a lot new, like I would say 50 just from that one. So again, I store it in the coffee filler and write the name on, and then I have a bunch new. They also really, a lot of perennials are great at self-sowing. The trick can be, it's good to collect the seeds and then sow them in pots, because it can be tricky to what is a weed and what's a baby of this Dagprakstjerne. So in that way I can sow them in pots and then plant them out later when they're a little bit bigger.
And only if you want to, because these are perennials, you don't have to collect the seeds. I think
That's
you get
true.
asked that on Instagram quite a lot, because we do a lot of seed collecting. But with a perennial garden, the question is, do you have to? And no, you don't have to.
No.
We do it because, like we've talked about a lot about, we have the neighbor's garden that we're bringing from grass to flower bed, and then we also have the front where we share plants with friends and neighbors, and so and Lars just enjoys it.
But that's true though, you could totally just let it wither back even before it comes to this stage, because even this stage, before it sets the seeds, then you could actually just cut it back and it would also look kind of fresh here. So no need, it's only if you want to have more of this, of perennials. I think it's great to see something growing from a little seedling.
Another reason that we start looking for seeds already now is because if we waited until everybody in the garden was ready, which will be the end of the summer, by then these early spring perennials, the wind has already scattered them, and so there's nothing left. So you have to, if you want to collect seeds, got to stay on top of it.
So it led me to another one that's starting to be, here some of them are still green, but here there's one that's starting to open up, and before it self-sows, the Agalaia here, I can actually also start to collect it because it is opening up, turning all brown, and the seeds has to be all black inside. So look at this, that is a very nice one. All shiny, super easy too. So these ones, it will self-sow around very easily. But I sow them here in late autumn, also in some pots, and then I can plant them out because they take, some of them, when you sow things from seeds of the perennials, they might first go in bloom next year. So it's also about being patient when you sow something from seeds, definitely the perennials here.
And the interesting thing about these columbines is the seeds that you're collecting will not be the same color, chances are, as the mother plant. Isn't that interesting?
That's
because what the bees have done, they have cross-pollinated. And so every year we're surprised, A, with where they come up, and then B, the colors that we get.
But there's a bunch also that's not ready yet, like delphiniums, like where the seed pods are still green. So that's not, they are not ready yet. So you really have to be looking all the time. And Agalaia frustiana also here, they are green. They have to be, I know I took it off now, but I have a bunch of them. But they're very decorative, even you could let it be. But they turn all brown and will also self-sow. But definitely not ready yet. But another one that is ready here, starting to have some black ones, I think is the Jakobstie here. Let me see. Definitely I saw some ones that's turning brown, and I see the seeds in here. They are also kind of long, see? And in that way you get, so these ones are not ready yet. They are more like, maybe I'll push them out. See, they are a different little, different shape here, more like light seeds, and they are not ready yet to be collected actually, see? That's such a different color. They have to be very dark brown. Okay, so we collected a lot of seeds. One I collected from was the Tjernelke, and look at that one, that are already the mature seeds. I sprinkled some in a pot, and they are already coming up of the Tjernelke. So they can go, if I have spot in the garden, otherwise to the neighbor, and then he can have more of that in a bigger group.
But this wasn't like in the past 5 minutes.
No, this was like...
I mean, the power video, it's like we collected the seeds, we sprinkled them, ta-da!
And
you know, cooking shows back in the day?
Where you're like,
they would pull it out of the oven?
Yeah. No, you have to be, depending on what kind of seed it is, it'll go from a few days to a week before they germinate. And then I keep it watered with a little mister on top. Anyway, I'm finished with the collecting seeds. Now I'm going to hunt for baby perennials, something that have self-sown that I can plant out somewhere else. So let's go. Haha, so I found the first baby perennial. And it is the Verbena here at the greenhouse. It finds any cracks here and then it goes in, and you can either transplant them directly out somewhere else in the garden or put them just in a pot. But depending on how hard the soil is, I'll try and do this one if I can pull it up, otherwise a little tool can do the trick. Just gently pull it up, see I can do. Yes, I got it. I'll take one over here too. And then a spade or shovel or what you have. Make sure to get roots up too. And look at these strong plants here. And they don't need to be hardened off or anything, because now it's warm. So either put them out directly in the garden, keep it watered in the beginning, or in a pot and let it grow a little bit bigger and keep it watered, and boom, then you have more Verbena you can put somewhere else. And of course, if you don't want to have any baby ones, then cut all off the seed heads, because then they don't self-sow. But I love to go and find free plants. Another one over here next to there's actually, the mother one is here, it's Blairsmelle, but a baby one is here. And it's actually right down here. See if I can pull it up. And it looks like the mother plant very easily. Here, we got it. But the foliage looks very easily. Maybe Alan shows how the mother plant look. The foliage is actually just like the mother plant behind us here. It gets these really pretty flowers and they open up. So it quickly looks like the mother plant either on the foliage when it gets the second set of leaves. So in that way, kind of look around if it's a weed or if it's a new baby one. But this is blæresmelle and kæmpeverbena.
We found more that if I did not have a Lars, I would have burned away. Well, and if he doesn't get them today, they are going to be burned away.
I need to go quickly. Because look at these, even in the gravel, there is a Ostfriesland here, stjerneskærm. Look at these baby ones, one, and then the big one here. Oh, I need to get them before we clean the path. But very strong roots, and then I definitely have to move them somewhere else. And they quickly, like I mentioned before, those small little seedling, when they have the second set of leaves, looks like the mother plant, which is right up here.
And this is a really pretty one, so I'm very happy to keep these and move them on somewhere else.
You actually just mentioned, maybe we show a digitalis, and we have a digitalis, a fingerbøl, which is not the best place because it's very hidden here, but it's actually right here. Ta-da! We have some that's right next to the path, but it's kind of hidden from Ostfriesland here. But here we have one, and that definitely needs to go some new spots. See if I can get it. In the first year, those are biennial, so it's not like a perennial. These ones, they produce the foliage the first year. Oh, and a bunch of Ostfriesland there too. But they produce all the foliage the first year, and then the second year it gets a tall tower, almost like 2 meters tall, of flower, and then they wither back, and then I can collect seeds of these. But those we just must have in our cottage garden.
And we're going to start putting them in pots. Yeah, with this dry weather we've been having, I think it's better than planting them directly out in the neighbor's garden.
I think so too. So I found one more, also a bit hidden away, so I think it's going to be pretty good that they come away. So this is Jakobstige, stairways to heaven. Look like they look like the mother plant here, like small stairs to heaven. And that's a really strong little one. See here. Ta-da!
It's a really good size.
Yeah. So that one definitely needs a new spot because some of them also naturally die when they get covered by other bigger perennials. But that one is so cute. Now we collected a bunch of small little baby ones of the perennials that's self-sown. Now it's important to keep it watered, especially here in the beginning, because it's totally normal that they kind of, even now, the Verbena here, very quickly they start to look very sad and upset because we dug them up and it's also hot now. But I keep it watered, so definitely in the beginning, and then they'll kind of wake up. That's totally normal that they look a little bit sad the first few days. Then I started keeping watered, and then I have these trays that I can also water from underneath, because then when they do get stronger roots, then they can soak up all that water by themselves instead of keep on over water. And I don't water every day. I kind of stick my finger in the soil to see, okay, does it look, when the surface looks a little bit dry, I water a little bit. I tend not to overwater because the risk of the small cuttings to rot is big, definitely in the beginning. So do be a little bit careful, hold back on the water and kind of see, okay, it looks a little sad or dry, or the leaves start to sag a little bit, then give a little water on, and then start to water underneath, because in that way you get really strong and long roots. So these ones are ready to go in the greenhouse.
And again, if you don't have a greenhouse, you can easily put these cuttings and the small seedlings in sort of any spot out of direct sunlight. So while Lars heads over there, I'll show you one spot where we do have them outside of the greenhouse. Here's the spot I was talking about. So these are some sedum cuttings. They're touchdown teak, so it's dark. I just rotated it today. But these are cuttings that we took of this beautiful plant. Because we put them in this pot, we leave them over here in the corner. This corner, as you can see, let me back up a little bit, is shaded. So there's no direct sunlight here, and it's right next to the water, so it's easy to take care of.
So we're ready to put them in the greenhouse. And as we mentioned before, we don't put them direct in direct sunlight. And so we actually place them right under here. I have made a tray ready, so I'm going to put them in here. And I could also put a name tag on if this is a special variety. But I place them in here underneath, so it's not in full sunlight. And keep an eye on it, all of them in here.
And one more time, if you want to put a plastic bag over them to help with that humidity, do that. That would definitely not hurt. Oh, there's the sedum cuttings.
You can see tray on tray.
Yeah,
on
we
tray.
took a bunch. We've taken a lot of cuttings
So they
this
will
year.
do well. So
Because now as everything is green and tender, it's really a good time. And maybe, obviously, climates are different all over the world, so maybe this is more of a July task for you, or maybe it's better for May next year for you, but don't be afraid of going out looking for seedlings, collecting seeds, propagating. It's really, I know I say it all the time, but when we first moved in, we gave ourselves a very tight budget on the garden. And with patience, we got a lot packed in here without spending a lot of money. And this is how we did it. And yeah, we have a greenhouse, so that's quite a blessing. But if you don't, anywhere out of direct sunlight can really make a big difference.
that's true. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you want to go out and do some cuttings now. Maybe you already did. But thank you so much for watching our video today. Moin!